start basically. So hello everyone, whoever is here tonight. My name is Arlette Shohmelian. I'm a positive mindset coach. I'm also a parent coach. And today's topic is about how negative emotions affect our health and our overall well-being. The reason I chose this topic is because I've been studying this topic for so many years, and I've been thinking why and observing why certain personalities have certain diseases, illnesses, symptoms, which I will talk about soon. For example, type A personalities are more prone to heart problems. People that have more headaches, migraines, have specific symptoms like suppression, for example. So I wanted to get more in depth into this topic and what can we do? How can we resolve this issue? Because it is something that has got to do with mindset programming, with reprogramming our mind. And I wanted to understand what's happening. So, sometimes we feel certain things. There are certain aspects of our personalities that we want to change. Sometimes we react instead of responding, even though we may say to ourselves, I'm not going to react. I'm just going to respond from now on. We may show some progress in this area. And after a few days, with the slightest crisis or stress, we go back to our usual self. But it's not our fault. This is how we are pre-programmed. So we all have certain defense mechanisms. The way our brain is pre-programmed, the way it's pre-programmed, it's the reason we behave or act in a certain way because of the way we were brought up, our upbringing, and the way we have developed our habits and the way our mind works. So we always react or respond to life situations or difficulties in exactly the same way. We all have different types of defense mechanisms. Some people avoid and they like to, suppress their emotions, and they bury their issues under the carpet. It's not like this is what they want to do, but this is how their mind works. Some other people take it out on alcohol, drugs. They develop some certain addictions. While others, they're more expressive. They may displace their anger on others. So we all have different ways we cope with emotions. But there are infinite amount of emotions that we feel during the day and in our life. So there are a lot of triggers. We have lots of triggers. For example, you may feel stressed constantly, or you may react to situations most of the time instead of responding, as I just mentioned. You may feel unfulfilled in a certain area in your life, in your personal life or in your professional life, and you may feel as though something is missing in your life, and you would look around your life and you would look at yourself and you say, but I have no reason to feel like that. So you rationalize it, you deal with it in a more logical way, and you don't dig into that feeling of hold on for a minute, but you're feeling unfulfilled, you're feeling something is missing in your life. But we tend to ignore those emotions simply because our mind is not programmed to handle emotions in a certain way. And only through mindset and only through reprogramming our mind, we are able to process our emotions properly. There are so many things we want to achieve in our lives. There are some of us want to lose weight. Some of us want to move out. Some of us want to move on. Some of us want to change our jobs. There are so many things that we want to do during in our life, but despite the fact that we decide that this is what we want, but we have a difficulty to commit and to move on with our wants. Some of us don't even realize that we're not even aware of how we're feeling and what we really want. And any time in our life that when what we feel inside and what we experience outside of our body is not in harmony, then that's where we experience all sorts of things like anxiety, like stress, because it's very important that what we want inside is in harmony and aligned with what we want and who we are in our life. So you might feel hurt, or you might carry resentment because you've been hurt from somebody that is close to you. You've been disappointed. You might be carrying guilt because of regret, something that you've done in the past, that you're carrying it. You're not aware of it, but your body and your cells in your body remembers everything. So it might not be on your conscious level continuously. There are some triggers in our lives when we start thinking and feeling about past situations. And again, how we process those emotions depends on our mindset, because our subconscious mind, which is fully activated when we start overthinking, when there is crisis, it's fully activated by doubt, fear, and worry. So we start overthinking over the things that, is going to happen in the future. And when we start thinking about the future, we will find 1,000 reasons to get worried about. So our mind is always busy and we're always thinking about the future, and we are not in the present moment, because the present moment has got nothing to do with the future, because our mind is not programmed in a way that we shouldn't be thinking and worrying about the future. Because what is the future? There is no future. It's just the here and now. And you might have noticed in your life that a lot of the times when you sit down and you worry about things, and then the outcome, you realize it's much lighter than what you've expected or what you've experienced, because in your mind everything is magnified. And when you are not aware of your thoughts, which your thoughts generate emotions, and through your emotions your outcome, your behavior comes out. So when you're not aware of your thoughts, chaos happens in the mind, overthinking, worrying, fear, and all those things. So as I said, there are infinite amount of emotions that we feel, and there are so many thoughts that pass through our minds. We are programmed by our environment, by our upbringing, and by our genes. We behave and act according to our programming. It's like we're on autopilot. We don't think before we behave. So we are like on autopilot. Something happens and your response is always the same, more or less, because you don't think. We never stop to think for a second how we come across to the people that we interact with. So we are programmed to think in a certain way. The thing is, certain experiences in our life triggers certain emotions. So in other words, you get triggered without even recognizing it. You act without thinking. Now, how do you know if you are triggered? Something happens, or somebody says something, friends or somebody says something, suddenly you have an intense reaction to what they are saying. So whenever we have an intense emotion or an intense reaction to what's happening around us, it means that we have been triggered. So every emotion that we experience, it's an invitation for us to understand where this feeling is coming from. But what we often do, we are just, our focus is just, we're stuck on what happened, and instead of focusing inside to think and to reflect and to evaluate what's happening inside us. It's very important when we feel intense emotions, because as I've said, our body, our cells, they in code, they save emotions as well as memories. So triggers are always coming because we've been triggered because of something, and not necessarily a situation that has got direct link with a past experience, but the feeling that we feel is the same. That's why we have an intense emotion. If negative emotions are not progressed, if negative emotions are not processed properly, and this is very important, if negative emotions are not processed properly, those emotions can turn into toxic in our body. And what do I mean by toxic? It means that anything that becomes toxic, it becomes dangerous to us. So when negative emotions are not processed properly, because of A, B, and C reasons, it stays in our body. We carry it without even realizing it, and they become toxic. And because when emotions become toxic, and when they are not processed properly, they can turn into resentment, guilt, and anger. So every person deals with their emotions differently. We're all different. We all have different upbringing. We all have a different mindset. So we all deal with our emotions differently. But the good thing is that once we start working on our mindset to reprogram our mind, just the same way athletes, just the same way athletes, practice to master certain skills, just the same way musicians practice over and over again. They play the same piece of music continuously. Why they do it? Why do they repeat? Because practice makes perfect. The same thing is with the mind. It's not enough to say that I want to change. It's not enough just to be aware. Awareness is very important because it expands our imagination, and it expands the way we view ourselves. So awareness is just half of the journey. What's more important is to reprogram our mind with tried and tested methods, which I will be introducing in my mentoring program in January. I will be talking more about it soon. So no matter what you're experiencing or feeling, what's causing the emotional activation in you is your thoughts. There is absolutely no doubt about that. It's your thoughts, it's your mindset, and the way you process your thoughts in your head, because whatever you're thinking, emotions are activated, and because of your emotions, we see the results in your behavior, and etc. So we never take the time to really step back and to evaluate our results in our lives, because when you evaluate and you take a step backwards, you realize that there are certain areas in our lives that needs extra care, that we need. Maybe we're ignoring certain things. Maybe there are so many things, there are so many reasons why we don't properly process our emotions. But what I'm telling you is that you can process your emotions properly, and it's very important to do it once you learn certain methods, because it's important, because those toxic feelings that I'm talking about, it stays in your body and it can create other issues, which I will tell you in a minute. So there are people that they are constantly on negative vibration in their life. So what do I mean by negative vibration? They are constantly complaining, they are angry all the time, lots of outbursts, the victim attitude, blaming, accusing. They're always on this negative vibration in their life. And when you are constantly on this negative vibration in your life, what do you think the result will be? The result will be negative, because the more negativity brings negativity. And this is not a rocket science. I mean, you can view this, you can observe this in your life. Sometimes, we have in our culture that when something happens twice, the third time it's going to happen again. When two bad things happen, it means that the third time is going to happen again. And I've often heard about this, and you know that just the thought of something happens for the second time, and you're expecting that something bad is going to happen again, because we said, you know, bad things happen 3 times, you know, because you've experienced it twice, it means that the third time is definitely coming. So having that kind of a mindset, it puts you on a negative vibration. Of course you will experience the third bad thing in your life. It's inevitable. You are bringing it to your life. Your mind is focused on that, so you are waiting for it. So when you are living your life on a negative vibration, you will get more of that in your life. There is no doubt about it. And you will see that some people are constantly, their mindset is in such a way that they're constantly complaining, they're constantly, you know, complaining, accusing. Things are not going well in their life. It's like when you are so much focused on that, you will not see the light at the end of the tunnel, because you will be diffusing anything that is positive in your life. So when you experience certain things in your life, you know, a lot of times it happens to all of us, and I'm sure it happens to you or to your friends. You hear it, that there are certain phases in their life when nothing is working. Suddenly one bad news after another bad news, you know, it's happening. And then, well, the reason it's happening is that because you are rolling in that energy of bad vibration, of complaining, of things are happening. Your focus is too much on what is going wrong, and you're almost expecting that what's next, you know. Yeah, I hear from people saying, what's next, what's next. They're like living life with fear. The reason this is happening, because their mindset functions in that way. So when we develop mental toughness and we learn how to reprogram our mind for a happier and fulfilled you, then things start shifting. But if you don't know how to do that, it's very easy to fall in the trap of overthinking, worrying, fear, especially these days with the pandemic. You know, people are living in fear. I mean, everybody's afraid. We are all afraid, but you cannot allow outside circumstances ruin your life. At some point, you have to step back, breathe, pause, practice pause, stop. Because when you stop, when things are going wrong, you need to stop for a second. You need to stop for a second, and you need to evaluate what's happening and decide that this has to stop. I have to start shifting my mind. I have to start using my mental faculties, such as reasoning, which is very important. We have reasoning. Well, that's what makes us different than animals. We can reason a few things so that we don't fall in the trap of we're so down that it's so difficult to come up with. When you work on your mindset, you will be able to process information and thoughts in your mind so that those thoughts and those emotions do not become toxic in your body. Because as I said, the body memorizes everything. So when you are living on a negative vibration, you get triggered easily. It won't take much for you to get anxious, stressed, argumentative, intolerant, and so on. Notice those days when you are not feeling well, and we all have those days when we're not feeling well. Those days when we are not feeling well, you see that we are less patient, we are less tolerant, because we are not feeling well. So our body gives us so many indication, when you feel you're not feeling well, when you feel like your patient, your tolerance level drops, it's an indication for you to pause, to stop, step back, just one step back, and see what's happening. Stop, evaluate, take a deep breath, because when you stop, there are certain things that are happening in your brain that can calm you down. Drink water. Water is amazing for anxiety. It balances things. So it's important to stop and not to continue with that, to evaluate situation and calm down so that you know. And then the question that you can ask yourself, what's the next best thing to do? When you ask the right questions to yourself, when you ask powerful questions to yourself, your brain will give you the right answers, because we have all the tools we need inside us, but we don't know how to use them. So this question, what's the next best thing to do when things are chaotic, when you are unable to decide, when, life circumstances, ask yourself, what's the best next thing to do? Your intuition will guide you. Get the answer, commit to that, because it's coming from you. You need to trust it. And then you take it from there. And then you start moving a little bit to the positive side of vibration. So gradually, those unprocessed emotions, we said that all the emotions, the negative emotions, when we don't handle them properly, when we don't deal with them, we don't process them well, they can become toxic. So what happens when emotions become toxic in your body? It will start manifesting itself physically. What I mean, because negative emotions turn into toxic emotions when emotions are not dealt in a healthy manner, and your body is trying to find ways to cope. So, and your body is trying to give you signals to attend to it. That's why we have all the signals we need. We just tend to ignore it. We ignore it out of ignorance. Sometimes we really don't know how to handle all those emotions. It's not our fault. But at the same time, once you become aware of it, then your mind starts thinking in that direction. Your body wants to heal. Our body is always screaming to us that it wants to heal. You have to understand, when you have unprocessed emotions in your body, you have to notice the frequency of the following symptoms in you. And what are those symptoms that your body is telling you, hold on for a minute and do something about it? It's constant headaches, okay? Migraines, stomach aches, body aches, constant flus. Because when you have, when you are too stressed, your immune system is affected. So you become sick more frequently. Chest pain, pressure, because you're feeling pressure. Stomach ulcers, muscle aches, panic attacks, and of course, gradually a person might develop into anxiety and depression. All those are happening in you because you have toxic emotions in your body, and your body is trying to heal. That's why it comes out. The toxicity manifests itself physically in headaches, in ulcers, in panic attacks, and on all that. So, and depression, of course. So how do you know if your body is on negative vibration? Just step back for a moment and understand and ask yourself, do I have any of those symptoms on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? We all have headaches. We all have chest pain. We all have certain symptoms in our lives. But if it's something that you are going through it continuously on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you can check how many Panadols you're taking in a week for your headaches, for example. You need to stop for a second and ask yourself, is this how it's supposed to be? Because we rationalize things. We rationalize things and we handle things with our logic by saying, but everybody's stressed. Everybody's stressed. Stress is a big part of life. What is not natural for us and for our body is to constantly go through all these symptoms. It is not natural. If it's happening, it means that your body is telling you to attend to it. You need to dig a little bit to find out why you have constant migraines. What is it that you're suppressing? So therefore, or what is it that you're going through? We cannot control what's going to happen in our lives. There are always circumstances beyond us and outside us. The only thing we can control is our thoughts and our perspective and our attitude and our perception, the way we want to view situations and the way we want to feel about certain things. This is the only control we have. But in order for us to have that kind of a strong mindset, it means that we need to work on our mindset. And the funny thing is that it's not a rocket science. It's not like it's this big science and we don't know, it's a mystery how to develop mental toughness. It's not. It's actually very simple. We just need to know about it and be aware of it, all those tried and tested methods, so that we will be able to start thinking a little bit differently, so that we develop more positive mindset, because that's what ultimately is going to give us peace in our life. And this is what is going to make the quality of our life much richer. So there are numerous studies. There are studies that suggest that the root cause of tumors and cancers lies in at least 3 emotions. I want you to think for a second, what are those emotions that are responsible for our mental health and physical health? There are so many emotions, I said, that we experience negative emotions, but there are 3 specific emotions that is so toxic in us that has the ability to make us feel sick. I don't know if you have guessed. I just want to give you a second to think about it. And if you wish, you can put it in the chat box, what emotions I'm talking about, the like really toxic emotions. It's resentment, it's guilt, and it's grief. These 3 emotions are super toxic because it puts your body on a negative vibration and damages your ability to create your own reality. So, such as setting goals and moving forward. Isn't it unbelievable that these emotions can block you? These 3 emotions, if you're carrying in you, you might not even be aware of it. That it blocks you from really, really moving forward in your life. So most illnesses that people experience primarily is psychological. Numerous scientific research suggests that lots of cancers and tumors lies from suppressed feelings of prolonged resentment and prolonged feelings of guilt. So isn't it interesting that, I've had this experience of somebody close to me going through a breast cancer, and the doctor asked if this person went through a high impact emotional experience 1 or 2 years ago. Because at that time, and this was like many years ago, the doctor said that because what he realized that most of his patients developed such tumors after a high impact experience. Now, it doesn't mean if we are experiencing high impact experiences, we will develop cancer or tumor. That doesn't mean. But what it means is that things will happen. We have to learn how to process our negative emotions. And negative emotions, we shouldn't be afraid of it, because they are there to teach us something. They are there to invite us to dig a little bit more into ourselves and into our awareness. And we need to process those emotions so that they don't become toxic in the body. So How do you get rid of resentment, guilt, and grief? You cannot imagine how fast you can release those emotions. You cannot imagine how fast you can release yourself from resentment and guilt. And how do you know when you are carrying these emotions? The answer is very simple. You know, sometimes we think about certain situations in our lives, certain people or certain experiences in our lives, and suddenly we start boiling in us. You know, we feel it physically. We start boiling in us because we feel how angry we feel towards a situation or towards a person. Sometimes resentment can also be, you know, in a workplace with a colleague. We realize that we have resentment. When you feel resentment, automatically it doesn't make you feel good. You start feeling the heaviness, like that impulse, that urge that you really want to hurt somebody, like hurt literally. I mean, I don't mean physically go and punch, but you feel that feeling that you really want that person to feel your pain and to acknowledge what you're going through. And it might take you some time until you calm down. And when we're feeling resentment towards somebody, of course, we lose our judgment because we don't want to have any good feelings about that person. And how do we know if we are feeling guilt? Guilt is something that many of us carry, and it's something that it's really heavy. And how do you know when you're carrying guilt? Is because guilt is something that you have done in your life, a mistake that you've done in your life, the way you might view it as a mistake, or something that you feel guilty. Maybe you should have done it this way rather than that way. So you carry the guilt. Parents have a lot of guilt. We carry guilt because we might think that we should have done it this way or we should have done it that way. Or maybe the kids, when they grow up, they start making you feel guilty because they have different expectations, and stories and stories. At the end of the day, you're feeling guilty. So when guilt comes, let's say when you're talking, when you suddenly think about something and you start feeling, you might get a little bit tearful because you start feeling guilt. And if you've experienced guilt, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You might feel guilty about somebody that passed away and you didn't have a proper goodbye, or there are 1,000 reasons why we feel guilt. Or you might talk to a friend, and then suddenly a topic comes, and then it it brings these negative emotions of guilt in you. It means you are carrying guilt, and it means it's an indication that you need to let go of your guilt. It doesn't matter if you are right, wrong, what you did in the past. It doesn't matter. We need to train our mind to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves. We are so hard with ourselves. When we give advice to friends, and when we're there for family members, we are more gentle with other people. We are not gentle with ourselves. We're actually most people are very hard with themselves. You did what you could. You did what you could. You did what you did with the awareness that you had at that time. Because when you feel guilty about a certain situation, you also forget the circumstances that you are living in. Sometimes there is so much happening around us. We might be on a survival mode. We might take decisions out of ignorance. We might take decisions out of love. We might take decisions out of not being aware. No matter what decisions we took in the past, and no matter why we feel guilty in our current situation, you need to stop for a second and say to yourself, I need to get rid of this guilt because it's not good for me. Because we know what science says: resentment, guilt, and grief makes you sick. So you need to be more gentle with yourself and stop it, release it, acknowledge it, cry if you want, and let go. It is a process. It cannot happen in a day. It's a process. Letting go is a process. People say, how do you let go? It's a very interesting question, because when we are in a certain situation and we are feeling certain things that we know that is not good for us, how do you let go? Because you don't want to feel like that. How do you let go? You have to let go because you need healing. How do you let go? This is an interesting interesting question, because the answer to that is on your mindset. The way you let go starts with a decision. Because when you take a decision that you want to let go of guilt, you want to let go of resentment or any negative feeling that when you're feeling it, you're not feeling well, because it's not making you feel good. It means that you need to let go. The way you let go is, first step is to be aware of it, because sometimes we're too stuck on the negative vibration of things. We're not even aware of it. We have all these negative emotions and all these thoughts that we are not even aware of it. So the first thing is awareness. It's very important to expand your awareness. Awareness, it's a skill that can be developed, because being aware of things the way we have to be aware doesn't always come out naturally to everyone. For some people, it's difficult. They don't even know what they're feeling at a certain stage in their life. So again, powerful questions. What am I feeling? Why am I having constant headaches? How I can get rid of resentment? You don't need to have the answers. You just need to ask the right questions to yourself. And when you ask the right questions to yourself, your awareness starts expanding, because you're asking to your mind a question and you will start getting the answers. So how do you let go? The first thing is with taking a decision. You need to be convinced that you need to do an emotional detox. You need to decide, take a decision that this is what I want. I want to really free myself from negativity. I want to really free myself from negativity. This is the first decision you take. The next decision, you can read. There are so many resources. There are so many resources out there. You can join my mentoring program. The first month, we will be doing emotional detox. I will talk to you about the program soon. You just need to ask. The good thing about our mindset, the way it works, when you decide about something, your mind starts giving you 1,000 solutions. When you don't decide, your mind is going to give you confusion, because only when we take decisions, the mind starts giving us solution. This is how our mind works. When we don't decide in anything in our life, that's where your mind starts giving you confusion, and you will be getting more of that confusion today, tomorrow, the day after. This is how it works. So it's very important to clarify things. So forgiveness is important. And it's one of the most difficult things to do. And forgiveness is also one of the most important things to do. Because when we truly forgive, when we think about situations and when we think about certain people in our lives, we realize that they don't have such an effect on us. When we start feeling like that, when you don't start boiling, you want to get even. And I know what you're thinking. This person did that, this situation did that, and there are so many stories. It's true. Forgiving doesn't mean accepting. You're doing it for yourself because you want to take that poison out of you, because that poison has the ability to limit your life, and you need to release it. Again, how do you do it? It's a process. You need to decide first, take a decision, and then your mind starts telling you how to go about it. Decide and see. Try this simple technique, because it's important. When you take a decision about anything in your life, you decide, your mind starts giving you lots of solutions. So, and it really limits your growth when you're carrying negative emotions. Speaking of growth, what happens when you emotionally detox yourself? You start feeling lighter. You start feeling, more joy. Your relationships start getting better. Your mindset starts shifting towards more positive. And you know what happens? You start thinking about things. You suddenly want to set goals. You want to move forward in your life because you're feeling lighter and you're feeling more joyful. And your mind and your intuition is telling you, giving you options of, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Suddenly you start finding yourself more interested in activities or certain things. I don't know. It's different for each person because you're feeling lighter. So, in our subconscious mind, because our brain has so many parts, but we will only focus on the two areas in our mind, which is the conscious mind and which is the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is everything that you have now, everything that you know. It's in your conscious mind. All our senses, everything comes to our conscious mind. It's our awareness of what we know, where we are now. Our subconscious mind is a mystery, because our subconscious mind is everything that is programmed from our environment and from upbringing. So that's where self-image comes into place, because everything that we believe about ourselves, our self-image, our self-limiting beliefs, our self-sabotaging activities, it comes from our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is constantly telling us, be afraid of that. Doubt yourself. You're not good enough. You're not confident enough. You're not this. You're not that. We always have these thoughts that start triggering so many other thoughts in our head, fear, and of course, what you have inside, what you feel inside, reflects what you have in your life. There is no doubt about that. You have fears and doubts about yourself, your life is a reflection of that. The most successful people in the world, and I don't mean about successful in the terms of material things. I'm talking about all types of success. It's not, I will not define it as material success, because for others or for somebody else that has mastered feelings of inner peace, is a very successful person in my opinion, because it's not something easy to master, but they work with a different paradigm. They work with a different mindset. They know how to handle their negative thoughts. They know how to process their emotions. They know what thoughts to attend to, what thoughts to ignore, what emotions to process, what emotions just to let go. They don't carry resentment. They don't carry guilt. They feel lighter. And when you feel lighter, naturally you experience more joy in your life. So our subconscious mind controls 95% of our behavior. It's a scary piece of research, but it's the truth. So there are two ways you can shift your mindset, okay? Two ways. One way, it happens naturally because you go through a certain experience that touches your core. You go through grief. You lose somebody, you loss, death, separation, accident, something out of the blue happens to you that shakes you. Then you have a natural mindset shift in your mindset because suddenly people. I mean, I know people that went through these life experiences and suddenly you see them and then you realize that, do I know this person or not? Because they're more calmer, more peaceful, because they took a decision without effort to change. How? Because their mindset changed. Their mindset changed. So when their mindset changed, their behavior changed and their results in their life changed. So it happened naturally. The other way that you can have a shift in your mindset through reprogramming your mind. And this is one of the most powerful experiences that you can experience, working on your mindset. I mean, is there anything more important than that in our life? More important than creating a mental toughness so that we experience more of what's good in our life, because life is already difficult the way it is. We cannot just be sponges to everything and be gone with the wind and wherever the wind takes us, because we are unable to know what we're feeling, and our experiences are shaping our reality. When you work on your mindset, you need to working on your mindset means reprogramming your mind, because your mind, our mind, all our minds are programmed in a certain way. You need to reprogram your mind and align it and bring it into harmony with what you feel inside and who you are and what your wants are, what your needs are, to bring it into harmony and align it with yourself. Because anytime that we have things inside us, outside us, that are not in alignment, that's where we start feeling whatever we're feeling. It goes without saying. So, we are constantly told by helping professionals that if you really want to change, then that's where it's possible. Change is possible. And of course, it's true. You need to want it. It's important to want the change. It's very important to want to change. It's extremely important. But how can we change? How can we change when we don't reprogram our mind? It's like Monday is coming and I'm going to go on a diet. Wednesday comes and we go back on eating again. I want to send my CV because I want to change my job. I want to move on. I want to this. I want whatever we want in our life. There is another layer which is right half down under that, which is in your subconscious mind, which is controlling 95% of all your behavior, such as self-limiting beliefs, sabotage, and many things that is delaying your growth. We might not even be possible. You might not even be aware. But this is the truth. So with reprogramming your mind, you will be aware of your subconscious mind, all your self-limiting beliefs, all your sabotages, that when you want to do something, when you want to stretch yourself a little bit, suddenly your fear starts activated in your mind. Don't do it. You're not good enough. Somebody else does it better than you. Don't do it. You're never gonna get it. What's the point? We have all those limiting thoughts that is controlling our growth, and it's controlling our progress. But the problem is that when you are feeling something inside you, that feeling is not going to go away. You may choose to ignore it. You may choose to, whatever you do, if there is a desire, something in you, if there is a want of a specific thing, it could be buying a house, it could be moving on, whatever, changing your job, whatever it is in your personal and in your professional life. And when you ignore it, it doesn't go away. And when you don't attend to it, it's like dying inside, slowly, slowly. Because suddenly you see in your life that, yes, you're functioning well, you're going to work, you're performing well, you're an amazing, whatever partner, whatever you're doing well. But then when you notice, you slowly, slowly start feeling you are not uh, feeling things. You're not feeling alive. You're just doing things. You're on autopilot, and life rolls and life goes, and that's it. I accept it the way it is, and etc. But it's like slowly, slowly dying inside. That's how people enter into depression. You know how many people are depressed? There are levels of depression, and they don't even know about it because they are so functional. They can function perfectly well that they are not even aware of it. But then, of course, constant headaches, anxiety, stomach pain, body aches, panic attacks. These are all indications of what is happening inside. So I would like to invite you on this personal journey of self-empowerment and transformation. It is my personal joy to share with you all my valued knowledge and my expertise and the right resources to make a positive impact in your life. So with this program that I'm offering, it's not psychotherapy, it's not counseling. We don't dig into your childhood because doing more of that will put you into negative vibration. The focus of my mentoring program is to focus on what you want and how you want to move forward in your life while taking care of your self-limiting beliefs and sticking to your goal. And we are so focused in what we don't have in our life that we forget to think about what we want to have in our life and what we want to achieve in our life. So in my program, it's about reprogramming your mind so that you set a goal, any goal that you want, personal, both personally or professionally, and you work towards your goal. And in this mentoring program that I'm offering, and your goal moves towards you because you are on the same frequency with your goal, and everything within that frequency starts coming towards you. Why? Because your mindset is focusing on what you want to achieve. Sometimes we say that, well, this is what we want, this is what I want, but we don't really commit because we don't really decide. Sometimes we don't even know what we want, but your body and your mood and your level of energy is screaming at you that you need to make some sort of a change in your life. So people are focused on where they are focused on their limitations in their personal and professional life. Stop thinking of your current status and start thinking about how you want to live your life and what truly makes you happy. Change your mindset, change your attitude, your self-limiting beliefs, your habits, and get rid of your inner baggage and start working on your mindset. This program that I'm talking to you about, it's called Empowering Transformation, Reprogramming Your Mind for a happier and fulfilled you. It allows you to live your truth, and it will make you get in touch with your authentic self and deep desires by getting rid of your toxic emotions. As I said, the first month, we will be focusing on emotional detox. The mentoring program is for 3 months. Then there is an additional 1 month extra bonus where you will have access to all the resources and the lessons, and all the lessons will also be recorded. I will talk to you more about it. But what the objective is to changing your self-limiting beliefs and blockages that no longer serve you, getting rid of fear, doubt, and worry, which controls 95% of our behavior, programming the mind to scan for the positives, managing negative emotions, anxiety, and depression. You will learn exactly what to do when you're not feeling well. You will know exactly how to handle negative emotions and negative thoughts, and how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Setting the right goals, because it will be on goals, setting the right goals that resonate with you and will allow you to move forward, and living all your life on high vibration, on positive vibration, rather than on negative vibration. Replacing new habits with old ones that will guarantee positive outcomes, getting in touch with your higher self and intuition, because as I've said earlier, we all have all the answers we want inside us. We don't trust our intuition because of that inner voice that pops in, that tells you something that is different. But when you learn to trust your intuition, everything that you want in your life, your intuition knows. Your intuition guides you. When we don't attend to what our intuition is telling us or guiding us, that's where we go wrong. 100%. There is no doubt about it. But what voice we trust in us, and what voice we hold on, and what voice we let go. This is something that you will learn, how to trust your intuition, because intuition is also one of the mental faculties, one of the strengths that we have in us that we don't use enough. Increasing your income. Maybe you want to increase your income. Maybe you want to look at possibilities. Maybe that might be your goal. And as I've said, we will also learn about our gifts that we all have, our mental faculties, our gifts that we all have, that you will learn how to strengthen those gifts that we have, because only through those gifts that we all have, we will be able to reprogram our mind. As I said, it's a mentoring program. It's 12 sessions plus 2 bonus sessions. So it's 3 months. We meet in a group setting once a week for an hour, where you have the whole week to ask questions, and the lessons will be there, and the lessons will also be recorded. So if you miss one of your mentoring sessions in a group setting, you will be able to go back and to listen to the replay. And it's very, very powerful, because it changes your life. I've been through it, so I know what I'm talking about. It's very powerful. I mean, it's really important for all of us to work on our mindset, and also to teach our kids, because our kids come to us with 1,000 problems, 1,000 issues, 1,000 things. It's very important. Once we know, once we learn, we will be able to help our kids and the people that are around us, so that everyone can have a similar mindset. If any of this, whatever I talk to you, if any of it resonates with you, the best thing to do is to schedule a clarity call with me, free, 15-20 sessions, and we can discuss about it, and we can see if this program is a fit for you. Because you need to understand what is if it's what you are looking for, and if it's the right fit for you. In any case, I would love to have that call with you, and I think it's very important when you talk to somebody, you get a feeling. You may talk about your concerns, if it will work for you, if it will not work for you, and then you can decide. You can also join my Facebook community, which is called on Facebook Positive. You can see it on the screen. Positive Mindset Like-Minded Community, where I will post this kind of photo videos there, and daily inspirations. It's a like-minded community. You're most welcome to be part of that community. And if you want to get updated information, I always post things there. Thank you all for your time. I hope you'll have a pleasant evening. Thank you. Bye bye.